these numbers, and we are recording. We're good to go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dual Screens podcast. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, he's bringing that special sauce again, ladies and gentlemen. He's bringing it. It's spicy. It's loaded in a Super Soaker 200. He's Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
My sauce overfloweth this week, Stephen.
I know.
It's everywhere. It's spilling over. It's going to be a good one.
A little inside baseball here, folks. Andy and I feel like this is the least we've spoken to each other in probably 2 years, just from Sunday to now. Would you say that's correct?
You got your new PC, and that's like you've forgotten about me. It's your new love, your new interest, your new side piece.
Well, normally we have, so you're big into the whole Dead by Daylight thing, and like I'm just dabbling my toes into the water, as they say, and so like with this guest, it was kind of like you were swimming in the deep end, and I'm over there in the kiddie pool, like, hey, let me know if you need anything, and I'll be there with my awesome smile and whatnot. So I just let you go. I let you run with this thing, and I'm happy you did, because you got a lot of great community questions and stuff from the Dead by Daylight community. So I'm really excited for this episode. And speaking of, we have the creative director for Dead by Daylight, Dave Richard, and Aude Laliberté, the manager, PR, and events. That's right. Welcome to the show. How are you guys?
Really good, thank you.
Great, thank you.
This is really exciting for us. This is a different crew than we've interviewed before, so we're excited to get some different voices here. Andy, how did you manage this one? Did you scare what's that? Michael? Did you scare him away? Is he
No,
gone
Matthew. I think he was like, oh fuck this guy again.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pass the buck to Dave.
Twice was enough.
No, I think he's just, after 4 years of Dead by Daylight, the huge stream yesterday, he's just needs a well-needed timeout, because he's doing amazing things for this game and for the community. So
Hell yeah.
I feel like, first of all, to you guys, congrats on 4 years on this game. Holy hell.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a
huge
milestone. Achievement.
That's awesome.
Super happy about it. From our humble beginnings to today, it's pretty crazy.
It's been an incredible ride to see the ups and downs, and just all the changes that have come, and just releasing across so many different platforms, and this last stream was probably the most news that this game has had at one single moment, I feel, anyway. But before we get into everything, and before we pick your brains, I want to tell people what the hell they're listening to. For those of you that are new here, this is the Dual Screens podcast. This is an interview show where we bring on industry guests to tell us their story and to discuss their latest projects. Everyone in the gaming industry, be it a programmer, an artist, a voice actor, or even a PR manager, they all have a story to tell, and this is their platform to do so. This show posts each and every Thursday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including our home, podbean.com. And again, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please consider leaving us a review. It helps the show's visibility tremendously. And of course, this show will also be posted as a little video, like image, whatever, on youtube.com/dualscreens.tv. That's youtube.com/dualscreens, DUEL screens TV, the letters T and V. All right, Andy, I know you're excited about this. I'm gonna put you in the driver's seat here, and I'm just gonna, every once in a while when you ask me to grab the wheel, I'll grab the wheel, but I'm gonna let you run with this one.
Well, I think the best approach is we're going to tackle this a lot like their live stream, just the blue balls, slow teas.
Oh, here we go.
The main topic of discussion here,
Oh boy.
which is the new chapter update. So I think, for starters, you guys, 20 million players, Dead by Daylight, and 1 million on the mobile alone. What is that? When I say that stat, how does it make you feel?
Very, very proud. I mean, of our team and behavior, but also of everybody involved around the community of the game. It's an amazing achievement, and I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Did you guys think that you'd amass that huge of an audience, like in 4 years? You've now 20 million strong that have played this game.
Well, I mean, in the first year, that was when it was the most mind-blowing. Like horror is, of course, a loved genre, so we knew that there was something. I mean, we love it, and we know that there's a lot of other people that loves it around. And asymmetrical is a weird type of gameplay that is underserved. So we knew that we have something special. But yeah, in the first year, we weren't expecting that much of a quick success. Now, obviously, as soon as we started to have like important um, visitors in our game, like I'm thinking of our first franchise ever when we started with Halloween. At that point, it took another turn. Like it gave us like this plus credibility, if you want. And at that point, we knew that if we kept the effort, if we kept listening to the community and creating more awesome content, then more players would come, and we would make even for a more interesting community.
Yeah, I think I first played this game at PAX East many years ago. It was the same time when Evolve was showing their game off, and it's funny how today Evolve is like this dead, forgotten IP that just crashed and burned when it first came out. And yet you guys are the same exact, it's the same genre in a sense, but you've done it so well and with such a passion, and it shows how this genre it can live and thrive if it's done properly.
And Andy, I just want to also add, you also are doing this you're a niche genre within a niche genre. Like
Mm-hmm.
horror is not something everybody likes. Not everybody likes to jump. Not everybody likes gore.
You'll speak for yourself. That's all you.
A lot of audience, a lot of potential video game audiences, are technically too young to even play the game. Yet here you are, 20 million players later, and a million mobile downloads. I mean, that's an incredible feat.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for any developer to work on something they really love and they believe in, and horror and asymmetrical was what we were good into, and we think about this project for so long, and put a lot of love into it. So I think that explains like why we're here today. Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about Evolved, and I hate comparing, and I'm not going to do
Right.
it. It's exceptionally difficult to do a game,
Mm-hmm.
period, and then to have it live and functioning, and be like, yeah, a live service is even more difficult. So for sure, a lot of these titles, and it's sad, they will just end and disappear. Yeah, we're extremely lucky, and I'm grateful.
Right. Well, I mean, your approach has all been about community and fostering like just attention and transparency with your audience and not trying to just nickel and dime them. I think a lot of these other games in the same genre tend to do. Like, how can we make an easy buck off um of gamers? And you guys are like the exact opposite of that altogether, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, important to yeah, be careful on that aspect, to be respectful for sure.
So now we have confirmed crossplay
Thank you.
is coming, and I feel so this is a big thing for us because a lot of our listeners are on, some are on PS4, some are on PC, some are on their toasters,
Switch.
and we can't get them all together to play this game. But now I feel this is it.
No
It's finally
excuses.
coming. So how big of a thing was this for the team? And what were the challenges in going about getting this system to work for crossplay?
Okay, I'm gonna try to remember all the details because it was huge, and a lot of discussion, a lot of design issues, a lot of talking with partners. Some game helped pave the way to be able to achieve that.
Small
There
game.
was a
Small game.
yeah, small games we have
Really
to
small.
say.
Hmm. A real small game.
So, but but yeah, I truly believe in it. I mean, that's the future, like bringing all the community together and making sure that the experience is replicated on all of these different consoles. I think that's also one point that we were really careful about when thinking of what happens on crossplay when we compare mouse and keyboard to controllers, for example. Is that something that players are going to hate? Are they going to oppose that? And on different consoles that have different performance issues, or things that we need to change in the game to make sure that we support equally all of these different consoles. So it's a lot of more. it's a big challenge to be able to support all of this, but I feel it will be totally worth it. Also, something that we're looking into is a way to, I mean, we hope that everybody can get along and will be able to play together with their friends from multiple consoles and from PC. But we will leave also the option to be able to opt out. We think that this choice is important. So if you feel that you don't want to cross-play, that's going to be an option for you.
I have a question for you. How are you going to handle cross-platform chat?
Interesting. Something that we're looking into right now. Like, is it something that we should add to the console? And should we add, that communication that we have on PC everywhere should be available on console as well? I don't have the answer for that right now, but it's something that we're definitely looking into. Yeah.
Cool.
This is a good segue for a listener question, Stephen, with regards to crossplay.
Hit me with it.
This comes from DJ Cool. Will there be balancing changes coming with crossplay, since certain killers played on PC can be harder to play as effectively on a controller?
Ooh.
It's very interesting. It's definitely something that we're going to monitor, but since day one, we always consider controller and keyboard and mouse on the same platform, because originally this game came to PC, and on PC you can have both of these control types living side by side. So it's always something that we have in mind. It's always something that we QA, and it's always something that we balance as much as we can, using both controls.
And you guys also mentioned in the crossplay update, the cross progression was a target goal for the team.
Yeah.
So Decoy Duck asks, what would that look like if you guys actually went ahead with cross progression? Would we have to have a behavior account to log in? Would all of our progress on different platforms be carried over? How would that look like if it is in the game?
That is sadly something I can't answer right now.
Oh,
We'll
sorry,
have to be
Decoy
patient
Duck.
and wait for.
Great question, though.
It's a very, very difficult subject to go into, let's say.
Yeah, a lot of the issues that we read about with stuff like this is that platforms need to get their cut if somebody's buying anything in a game. So like I don't know how that would work if you're just unlocking stuff in the that's a very weird tightrope that they've created, like all these individual platforms. There's got to be some.
Yep.
I imagine there's more red tape doing something as simple as something that looks as simple as that does, than we all know. So we can understand that you can't answer that right now.
Yeah, because if I'm buying things that are cheaper on, let's say, the PC version, will that all go into my PS4 version if it's cost more to buy those updates?
Right.
Exactly.
It's a weird dynamic, yeah.
Yeah, all the different partners have different rules with that. So yeah, like you said, it's very delicate and problematic.
You know what's not delicate though, is these graphic updates I saw that you guys were showcasing. Now this caught me off guard. So when I spoke to Matthew about a year or so ago, he kind of teased the idea of having the game get a little bit of a touch up, as you were, like for the next gen systems, but this looks like above and beyond what anyone expected it to look like. It's like a remake of your existing. You're remaking your own game at this point, basically.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, we were looking at what we could do now that the team grew and that we understand more about the game and that we have more resources. And, we're looking at the game and it's aging. So it was about time that we got back into this and have better graphics for sure. Good graphic quality, lighting, and all the visual effects and audio effects used to create mood is super important to horror. So it's something that we had aimed for a long time.
But it looks like it's like night and day. I feel like when you were showing off the current build versus the target update, it's like an alpha build versus like a final build of a game. It's that insane to me how much detail you guys have squeezed out.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, it's a big scale up. The team scaled up as well compared to what we had in our beginnings. So yeah, it's a lot of effort, but totally worth it.
Are you
And
guys playing
the
with a lot of the next gen hardware? Like you have a Series X in house or a PS5 that you're tinkering about with?
uh, that's uh, uh, that's something I can't answer, sadly.
I almost
Fair
got
enough.
But
him.
Fair enough.
yeah, can't talk about that at all. But
God.
I can tell you that a PC is used to test all of this. And
Hmm.
the
Sure.
interesting thing for players that saw the graphical update, the images that we shown, and might think, well, this is a lot different. Will the game play the same way? It's obviously something that we have in mind. Adding lighting to the game like this will create, different shadows and different way to play for the stealth gameplay, basically the hide and seek. So it's something that we have in mind, and we're testing a lot to try and replicate the same economics. So the game
Mm.
is gonna change just a little bit, I think, but it's gonna be easy to adapt to it.
On
Hmm.
the subject of the game changing a little bit, you actually just triggered a memory of mine. Um, a lot of like pro gamers, quote unquote, they like to turn textures low or lighting, to mess with the in-game lighting so that they can get advantages in online type games. Is this going to do you foresee this causing a little bit of a problem where you do have to balance that a little bit more? Like maybe you can't mess with the lighting systems. Would players playing on older builds or older machines have an advantage or disadvantage against somebody that's running the more up res and better lighting? Is that gonna how are you gonna deal with that change?
That's a very interesting question. It's problematic we're looking into right now as
Mm,
well. For me, if I could, and everybody could have the same kind of setup and machine, we wouldn't have these options in game, so that everybody would have the experience which we've balanced the game around. Obviously, this is not something that's possible. Of course, 4 years into the game, and once we go with the graphical update, it's going to be a little bit later as well.
mm,
Does it mean that we'll need to find clever mechanics um, to balance the game for people who have lighting versus the people who don't? Or will we have to use matchmaking for this to make sure that everybody is playing on the same, equal
Hmm.
footing? Or does it mean that some holder setup will need to disappear from, like basically raising up the minimal requirement
mm.
needed to play the game? Because I mean, that's something that we see in live game as well. At some point we evolve and all the machines evolve, so players kind of need to upgrade to be able to continue to play. So there's a lot of different avenue we can take to fix this issue.
Hmm. And on that note, Soda7 asks, are the older original character models also planned as part of the graphics update?
I think it's something that's going to happen as we review all of the different maps. We see that some objects, kind of pop out, and they don't look as good now because
Hmm.
of everything that's neighboring them looks so good. So we need to review these objects as well. And then at some point, we'll realize that some of the older cosmetic and some of the older model might not look as good. So we'll need to update them as well. I think it's a long-term project to be able to, as we balance gameplay features, we'll upgrade the graphics as we go.
I want to, if you don't mind, I just want to go back to a couple of questions ago. You had mentioned that the team is much larger now. Can you tell us what the team looked like when you guys, first started this thing, or like maybe when it first took off compared to now?
Yeah, absolutely. Without going into details, when we started this before release, we were about 30 individuals, really like pure developers role, and relying on the rest of the company to be able to test the game and to get feedback. So really like almost indie. I say almost because the studio already had 20 years experience making games, so we knew what we were doing, but it was still like the first time that we were going to try and have our own title in a multiplayer setting on a PC, so it was quite new and incredible. Of course, we had a lot of help from our publisher at the time, Starbreeze, so that was really good for us, and they were awesome because they gave us like 100% creative control over the product. So that was that was really nice. So really like purely helping us on publishing side. So the difference with today is that, of course, we're doing more and we raise the quality. So there's way more people on the dev side. But also, since we bought back all the rights to the game and now we are publishing, we can count as part of the team, like, publishing, marketing, all of these other job positions that didn't exist before at Behavior. That's a lot more people.
God, that must feel great. Like, you know what? We're just gonna buy this back from you guys. Like, we want to own it. So here's some cash. Have a nice day. Have a nice life. Thanks for your love and support. Like, to get to
Yeah, for
that
sure. I
level
mean, for sure, it's good. Yeah,
of success.
absolutely.
So you mentioned that you got all the creative control and everything like that back, or like you had that from the beginning. Do you still maintain the creative control when you're using licensed characters, or do you have to kind of give up a little bit of that control to the owner of said IP?
Interesting question. Usually, when we work with a license, obviously, we are working under some very specific constraints of what the character is and can be, and can do. But that's usually a thing that's really fun to work with as designers and artists. That's a fun constraint to have. Usually, the deal that we have with the license owner is that anything that is gameplay is 100% done in studio and should work and should not be contested or anything. So obviously some partners are closer to the video games industry, so they can have their own ideas, they can bring forward ideas, and we'll work with them with pleasure. But to make sure that the game works well, and we still have the final say on what the gameplay about these characters is going to be.
I think that's a good segue into the main topic here.
Here we go.
Steven. Oh boy. Silent Hill crossover.
Yo.
Words cannot describe my erection when I was watching this live stream.
That's on brand.
As a huge fan of this game, and even more so Silent Hill, it was unreal to see it happen. So kind of walk us through, like, how did this all start? Why this franchise? Let's go through all of it. Give me the whole scoop. Spill the tea, as it were.
Okay. Of course, I can't go into too much details on how this work in the background, but we do have. Since the very beginning, we knew that this game would grow into multiple chapters, and we had in mind that we would try and grab some licenses to be part of the game. The game is designed to be like that. And so we have a list, we have dreams in our mind of who we'd like to see in there. And so when we have opportunities to talk with the license owners, we talk about this possibility and see if they are interested. So some are easier to approach, some are easier that they're interested and they want to create this right away. Others takes more time, and so this is how it happened. I mean, once in a while there's some meetings that happen between these people, and at some point we can pique their interest and we can start talking about making the product. With Konami, it was actually quite interesting because compared to other license owners that we've worked with in the past, because they come straight from the video game industry, it was a different way to talk. Actually, I've on my part, on the creative side, I found it much easier, like talking with peers that really understand how games are made and how important game characters are to the fans. And how to build this properly. So it was a pretty cool experience to work with them. So a lot of time people ask us like how much time did it take to create this overall, like the partnership and everything, and I'd say that we've been on that for almost a year. Yeah.
Do you, when you're approaching the owner of an IP, do you go there with the character, like, do you make the character already? Do you show them like how it would work, like so they could see it and visualize it, or is it more of a you just bring some like concept art and like you know just your general pitch of what Dead by Daylight is and why it would be advantageous for them to put their character in the game?
Yeah, that's interesting. So in our early beginnings, we had to create pitch, right? So we'd have to build decks and presentation to be able to show off the content of the current game and what the licensed content would be into that game, and then really explain everything. Obviously, now after 4 years, it really depends. Some license owner don't know about the game, but most do. We don't have to pitch so much. Even sometimes some partners will pitch their own ideas. Hey, we have this character. It would be cool in that game, in your game, if you do it like that. So yeah, it really depends on the partner.
So they sound like they were more receptive to the idea of a crossover, Konami, than I guess others who are in for movie holder IPs and those kind of licenses, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I think that both us and Konami really realized how much of a good fit it was, and so yeah, that's how it happened.
And you guys are also huge fans of this license and the franchise.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of us the studio that are giant fans. I mean, I think it's part of the video game history. It's such a classic. It's unique, and it kind of defined the psychological horror genre in modern video games. So for me, it's always been in the back of my mind. It's something I refer to often. The first time I played Silent Hill, I think I played it 4 times in a row, just to be able to show the experience to friends that did not want to play because they were too scared. Like, you have to see this, and then I would replay it and show it to them. And yeah, that's it. Like the first time you get into the school, when you get to Midwich and you get through this clock tower and the air raid siren starts and you get on the other side in the dark world and the other world, man, like this left me with such an incredible feeling. And now the fact that we could reimagine this whole map and all set up in DBD and next gen, well, current gen look is just fantastic.
So you guys get the okay, and it's all right. You can use the license. Awesome. How does it go from then to putting your ideas as to what they would look like in the game? Because I'm sure you have things you want to do that they would say, don't do that to these characters. How do those conversations look like?
Yeah, so that was, like I said, quite easy with Konami since they come from the video game industry. But the biggest hurdle that we had were the language difference. Talking from Japanese to English, obviously, and also, of course, the pandemic that was a little bit more difficult at the beginning. But besides that, I mean, how it works is simple. We do our work on our side based on the agreement that we had. We already presented them the characters and the world that we wanted to use, and then all the lore, the add-ons, the icons, the perk descriptions, the outfits that we did go through an approval process. We send them the concepts, so it's in multiple stages. We send them the concepts. They approve or they ask for modification, and it comes back. We do the models, we send them back, and then we get them approved. So they are really involved in all of these decisions to make sure that it stays true to their characters.
Were there any crazy ideas that were shot down? I'm just curious by Konami. Like, you can't do that with Pyramid Head.
You can't make his head an octagon. That's crazy.
What?
It's a pyramid.
Nothing too crazy because we know about the brand and we know about the license, so we were finding ideas in the constraint of what it is. But there's still been some things that have been shut down by Konami. That's just normal. It happens with every license owner, and they have their reason to say, like, no, don't do that, and it's fine. We move on and we do something else.
Right, like, hey, what about a pachinko perk? No, don't do that.
Leave pachinko out of this, Andy.
So I think what everyone's wondering now is, does this open the door for future video game crossovers? Like, will we see a Scissorman one day in Dead by Daylight?
Scissorman.
Like, is this the start of a new
Not
trend
yeah.
for you guys?
Let's be clear. You're not asking specifically if Scissorman is
No.
going to be in the game, but
I think I am very specifically
you
asking that
are
question.
not. It's a
Well, I'm not going
dangerous
to answer
waters
it
you're treading.
specifically. Yeah, I'm not going to answer specifically, but of course, why not? If
Of
Matt
course, yeah.
usually says into that portion of the interview that we've done a lot of licenses and we've practically done all the classics that we have in our list, but there's still a few in there. And the thing is that we can produce 4 chapters a year, right? That's our format, and that's how we want to do this in the future as well. And so there's only so much content we can create. So that's only like the 8 characters per year. So if we're going to do licenses, they have to be awesome. They have to be a great fit for gameplay. They have to be a great fit for fantasy. They need to bring something original and cool. Silent Hill was definitely one of them. There's probably others out there. So, from movies, from other games. So it's going to happen again for sure. I love that since we've released that, it kind of unlocked something in the community brain of saying like, wow, they can actually do more video game stuff. What about this and that and this and this and that? So we see a lot of really cool thing. Tom Nook is not going to be a killer in DDD.
I was going to say.
That's not going to work. But, there's a lot of really, really cool thing that we could do. Also, on the legendary skin, that new feature that we are going to release with this Silent Hill chapter. So that's also a lot of new possibilities that we can do for past content and new content. So it's cool again that it unlocked like that mind barrier into the community's mind. They're just like, oh, they could do this and this and this now. I love seeing that.
So on that is a question from Masuster. He asks, with this chapter, you guys are introducing legendary cosmetics, allowing you to transform a character to someone else. Will we be seeing this new cosmetic type extended to previously released chapters, both licensed and original?
There's nothing preventing us from doing so. We're always in contact with all of our partners of content that we've done in the past. It's never like we release license character and then it's over. We're constantly talking about what else can we add. I think a good example of that is the Saw chapter, when we finally could release new cosmetic for the pig and David Tapp. That was like a first, so it unlocked that possibility. So we're always looking into making more of these assets for loved brands. So absolutely, legendary could be a thing for past deals that we have and future as well.
I mean, Silent Hill Nurse as the nurse cosmetic has to be a thing on your mind. It has to be.
It rhymes, right? Nurse and nurse.
Right, yeah. It's the same goddamn word, so.
I mean, make sure that everybody out there tells what legendary they would love to see, because that's always a good hint for us. So yeah, the community needs to kind of say, hey, we'd like to see this, and we'll take notice for sure.
So on the topic of cosmetics, this comes from Kaiser. How much flexibility do you guys have with Konami when it comes to adding more content in the future? For Stranger Things, you added even more cosmetics, like the Twisted Demigorgon. So again, I guess that applies to how much can you push the IP or the license after the initial release into like different things and other cosmetics?
Yeah, usually when we work with a license owner, we talk about cosmetic options. Sometimes the characters we talk about don't have a lot of space to grow. I'm thinking of Freddy, for example. Freddy Krueger, with the license that we have, he has like this one costume and that's it, and it's over. It could have been the case with Pyramid Head and Cheryl, but Konami has been great into this partnership, and they understood the importance of cosmetic and DVD, and they actually worked with us into creating a new original outfit unique to Dead by Daylight for both of these characters.
It's funny that you guys call her Cheryl. She'll always be Heather to me. I know she's Cheryl in the game lore,
It's
but
her choice, right?
She's just Heather. Yeah, it's my choice.
I know. That's why we always use both name until people are used to Cheryl. But that's in the canon of things. And when Cheryl Heather comes to DBD, it's after Silent Hill, so she took back her name, Cheryl.
Mm-hmm. Which means there's got to be some sort of schoolgirl outfit for her at some point, right? It's going to be a thing.
We'll see.
All right.
I have a question that's kind of it's more broad. It's just for something I was thinking up. I don't know how you would measure this. I don't know which metric you would use, but I'll just leave you to interpret this. Which of your characters do better? Your original designs or the IP licensed killers?
Interesting. We're actually, I'd say they're kind of equal in different ways. Of course, the power of a license to get new players invested in the game, for example, is super important. And every time we release a new license, it's something new that we get into our metrics and to understand what will happen with this license. So we'll see with Silent Hill, a bit more down the line when this releases. But we're at that point now where Dead by Daylight is big enough as a game so that our original character have a lot of traction as well. And of course, that's the exterior aspect, exterior to the game, invisibility, for example. But inside the game, all of our characters are appreciated differently. I mean, it really depends on their gameplay and the fantasy they bring. That's why also it's a reason when we create original character, we try to go into a space others than what the licensed characters are, so that we can offer something different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it says a lot where you could have your original creations like, the Trapper or like the Nurse, they can stand on the same level as like a Freddy or like a Michael Myers.
Absolutely. And with something really important for us, we want to make sure that we don't dilute our brand into, other licenses.
Right. It's like it keeps its own identity in a sense.
Yes.
And now it's like the Smash Brothers of horror games. It's like
I love hearing that.
cram all the guests in there we can get.
Yeah.
Got any more anime sword boys? Can we get more of those in there? That'd be great. Throw a few of those in there.
I just want to say, I feel when I was first watching this Silent Hill reveal yesterday, like a lot of fanboys were like, well, why is it Cheryl Heather and not James, who is closely related to Pyramid Head? And I think when you take a step back and you look at, there's the school map and Heather, then Pyramid Head, it's not about him. It's just about the entire franchise being celebrated in one shot. And I was looking at the map.
Somebody's got to do the celebrating.
You guys really got that map down. It's like a 1-for-1 of the school, which is amazing to me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, usually we do an interpretation of a location, but since this is coming from, straight from a video game, it just made sense. And, recreating the jump scares and the symbolism and all the, the little even puzzle hints, in there. I'm sure you saw the piano and, these things.
The piano really got me in tears. I was like, that puzzle piano. It's goddamn
yeah, we packed it with secrets. Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to ask you just a personal, give me your own opinion here. There's been some rumors of a new Silent Hill reboot happening at some point. Do you think that this chapter somehow lends some credence to that rumor? Does it seem likely that we'll see a new Silent Hill game pop up? What do you know, Dave, and tell me?
Yeah, no idea. No idea. I know nothing. And, it's Dead by Daylight. Silent Hill and Dead by Daylight, and that's it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. He knows too much. He knows all the things, that bastard.
I know nothing, I tell you.
Oh, God. All right, we have a ton of other questions that are on a more broad topic. So if you guys are all set, shall we get into it? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm down.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. This comes from Feverman. He asks, will we be getting another charity DLC pack in the future based on how successful the first one has been?
I honestly cannot answer that. I do not know the answer to that one.
Because you guys got, I think, $1 million based on that charity, correct?
Yeah, I think it's way
Huge.
more than that
Yeah.
today. Very, very successful. The one thing I can say is that it is more complicated than one would think to be able to give to charity.
Oh, okay. Go into that a little bit. Why is that?
Uh,
Just take my
there's
money.
just a lot of yeah, there's just a lot of different hoops you need to go through because there's tax refunds on charity in some countries. There's you know it, there's a lot of politics and law involvement in a charity pack. So we found a way to do it properly with Brain and Behaviors Foundation for the first one, but I'm
Hmm.
not sure if we'll ever repeat this in the future. But this one is still, making great, and it's a great way to be able to give to charity through Dead by Daylight. Yeah.
That's awesome. Ballistic asks, will community events like the cosmetic contest be more regular?
Interesting. I can't answer that one either. I think that it's still planned to be a yearly celebration. We receive a lot of very cool outfits in there, though. So, maybe in the future it's going to be 2 times a year. I don't know. I can say would be interesting.
Okay. Okay. Panda asks, can you tell us anything about the anniversary event? We saw from the IGN gameplay video that there were these crown-like things you can interact with.
Yeah, I was surprised from that one. Didn't think it would go through. So that's a leak, I guess. Yeah, there's definitely something planned. We're gonna have a lot of fun in and out of the game. There's a lot of the plan for celebration, but I won't spoil it further. You'll have to live it when it gets out.
Okay. Clover asks, any plans on changing the current Bloodwed and perk system? If you are a new player to Dead by Daylight, it can be pretty daunting to grind perks, many of which are locked behind DLC characters.
Yeah, absolutely. When we first started this project, and since then we revised the Blood Women progression a couple of times, and of course with tons of characters and tons of perks, the system is getting daunting, difficult to get everything that you want. Prestige is becoming like really difficult, like losing all your stuff and having to grind again for hundreds of hours. So definitely something that we're looking into. I would like to make the fun more accessible to more people.
Hmm.
So it's definitely something that we're looking into. Yeah.
Okay. Rational asks, you have made it clear that you want the game to be on par with even next-gen games that have yet to release. So can we expect the character customization system to be expanded, perhaps by breaking the system down into more slots, i.e. hairstyles, shoes, watches, bracelets,
Oh, good lord.
glasses, and masks?
Blood type and cup size and top and bottom cup size.
Yes.
Whichever. Take your pick.
But potentially, it's something that we asked in a survey to the community not a long time ago, what type of new customization they'd like to see. So that could be more slots on the character. It could also be customization out of the character. It could be items. It could be UI. It could be
UI.
tags that you put and stickers that you put around the game. As long as it fits the universe and that it doesn't break immersion, it's something that we could do. Yeah.
Rusty asks, even though DBD is not an esport game, there's a lot of people that enjoy playing well and getting really good at the game. Right now, the only places for competitive players are community-hosted tournaments. Any plans to support competitive side through official tournaments and prizes? Be kind of fun,
Interesting. It's kind of fun, and of course, we're aware that there's a portion of our players that are really into that type of thing.
Sociopaths. We call them sociopaths here in the States.
Yeah. we're a bit more polite than that.
Oh,
No, seriously,
so Canadian of you to be polite.
So yeah,
Andy,
sorry,
you
but-
jumped into a game and lasted 12 minutes. I saw.
I think it was 12 minutes. Yeah, that's a new record for me.
But it's something that we've decided to, yes, support in the long term. Like there is a space to be able to have competitive gameplay, but I'll take any day the fun and crazy, chaotic aspect of the game before a fully balanced, competitive tournament-like game for
That
DPD.
is a great answer. I like
What
that
makes
approach.
Dead by Daylight marvelous is that you can mix and match pretty much everything, and anything can happen, and you always have surprises, and that's why you have the jump scares. That was you have so amazing scenarios that you can talk about, and so yeah, that's it.
Right now, this question comes from Reddit user Chuckles Trapper. Now, Chuckles gave me a Bible, a War and Peace sized chunk of questions, and I can't get through all of them, Chuckles. But I'm going to ask your most important one on this episode, and that is, where did Matthew get that shirt during the anniversary stream?
Wow. Well, can't answer that, can I? Most important.
No, but Chuckles, I think I'll send Dave and Matthew all your litany of questions here. Just so many things he wanted to know about. But we'll ask a more serious one, and he asks about Pyramid Head's add-ons. They seem, he says, pretty cookie cutter. Will they be changed at some point? He's wondering.
Well, they won't change drastically in the first months of the character appearance. So we'll need to monitor and see how the players use them, and if we need to add interesting mechanics to Pyramid Head, it's always something that can appear later in a rework slash update. So of course, like anything, tell it to the world. We're monitoring outside the game, so put your comments out there, and we'll see.
And lastly, I think this is one thing that I ask often on this game, and it's also asked by Shiro here. Any progress on having additional objectives to escape for survivors or winning as a survivor?
Well, it's something that we've talked about for a long time as well. Obviously, it's one of the top things in the life of a Dead by Daylight players that eventually you're going to say, I would like to do something else. So through the archive, it's something that we're looking into. How can we add a secondary objective or things to track that are a little bit different than the normal loop. So that's something we're looking into right now. It doesn't mean that in the future we're not going to have more drastic changes to that. But for now, the gen repairing and the escape is there to stay.
All right, and that about wraps up all those questions. That was a lot. Thanks, guys.
That was a good chunk.
Yeah,
I love it.
cool.
Wow, and that's
Boy.
actually perfect timing because we're gonna get into our very special segment here. We're gonna do.
Oh boy.
Are you ready? We're gonna do a little rapid fire. But before we get into the rapid fire, let's just tell everybody real quick. Let's just reset our brains, and let's just tell everybody what we do over here, because we don't only do the Dual Screens podcast. We're not always just doing interviews here on the network. If you're still subscribed here, we do other shows on the same channel. We have on Mondays, we have the Dual Screens Games Cast, and that's where Andy and I go over all the gaming news you need to know about, and we argue about who the biggest winners and losers are of the week. And you could watch that actually live on twitch.tv/dualscreen streams on Sunday nights, and then of course that goes up in audio form on Monday and then on video form on YouTube the following day on Tuesday. So if you want to check those out, again, it's the same channel, so you don't have to subscribe anywhere else. We post it right there on the same channel. And also on the same channel, we have seasonal content. Right now we're in the middle of season 1 of Dual Screens Versus, a show where Andy and I debate topics that are brought to us by guest moderators. So there's 3 episodes of that up as well. All right, Andy, let's get into our rapid fire here, Andy. What do you say?
The first question.
The most
This will
important
determine
question.
your fate, if we'll ask you back on the show or not.
Second most important question. Okay.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's come back for sure.
All right. Well, you can do a one-on-one interview then. Dead to me.
This is personal, right? Personal taste.
Yes, it's personal preference.
Would you rather have the power of flight or invisibility?
Invisibility.
Okay, Dave,
Interesting.
you have now
Interesting.
achieved soulmate status.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. This is called rapid fire for a reason, Andy. We don't need any more commentary out of you. Next question. Go.
are rats cute?
Mm.
Wait, what? Repeat that, please.
Are rats cute?
Kinda.
Okay,
Mhm.
Is that
I'll
a
accept
yes?
it.
A soft yes.
Sure. I mean that's fine. Pen or pencil? What is your writing utensil of choice?
Pen.
Mm-hmm.
Is cereal a soup?
No.
What is the best sandwich?
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Club sandwich.
I do love a club sandwich. It's so
Yeah.
good. I like it when
Yeah.
it's really, really like thick and it's just got so much damn turkey on there, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what do I do with this thing? And
You
then
love
you're
it
just
thick
like,
and meaty, don't you?
dislocate your jaw, and you'll be good to go. That's all you need to do.
When was the last time you touched a monkey?
I don't think I ever touched a monkey.
Well, then you haven't lived then, sir.
I have also never touched a monkey. What is the weirdest animal you have touched?
Probably a snake. Not really weird.
I don't know if I could ever get myself to hold a snake. I don't know. Andy, your turn.
What is the most ridiculous thing someone has tricked you into doing or believing?
Oh, that would take too much time to think about. I'm not sure.
There's too many things.
Because there's a lot.
This interview.
I'm old. This exact what the hell?
Damn it, Matt. You bamboozled again. If you could have one animal be one of the killers in Dead by Daylight, what animal would you pick?
Wait, what?
If you could just pick an animal, just a random animal in the animal kingdom to be a killer in Dead by Daylight, which would you pick?
It would be a bear.
Nice big old lumbering black bear. Just
Yeah.
everybody just has to play dead, and then the bear is just useless. at least that's the rumor, and you're just like,
Make
no.
yourself big, or is it small for
Yeah,
a bear? I forget,
no,
is it big?
It's make yourself
Make
big
yourself
and
big.
yell loudly. I think that's what you have to do. You're just gonna have a bunch of. You know what you do? You put into the game that anybody using voice chat, if they scream into their microphone, the bear can't. The bear gets scared and has to run away in the opposite direction. I think that works out perfectly.
I don't think that works with brown bears though. With Kodiaks, I
Brown
think these
bears
guys just
are they're mental.
destroy you.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, what are you? You're alive? I'm gonna eat you. Oh, you're dead? I'm gonna eat you too.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you could troll your entire audience on Dead by Daylight, who would you pick as the next chapter character?
If you really wanted to just be like, haha,
Just
you
be a
dumb
dick
idiots.
about it. Like, I'm going to give you, like, I don't know. Again, you said Tom Nook earlier. Something that ridiculous.
Yo, man, we had a thing going with Tony Hawk for a little while.
Shut up.
Yeah.
As the killer?
You haven't seen that? No, not as a
Oh,
killer.
I saw that. Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, I saw
Okay.
that. But
So
that could work. As a killer, that could work.
anything can happen.
Wow.
Skateboard bash people across the face. That could work. That could really work.
What now this is Dead by Daylight oriented as well, and maybe you have to give a little bit more thought into this, but what is your dream IP to work into Dead by Daylight? Not necessarily a killer, but like maybe a universe or something. What's your dream IP to work on?
Well, answering that one is very dangerous
Right.
obviously,
Mhm.
because
And we've asked this before, and we got an answer that I guess wasn't. How did he answer it last time? And he kind of danced around it too.
yeah,
I think
I'm
he
still gonna
mentioned
answer
the
it.
Pennywise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead, answer
you
it.
know, a long time ago we used to say a couple of them because there were more. Now it's becoming a little bit more dangerous on that front. But I think mine is pretty safe.
Mm.
My series of book, my favorite series of book of all time is The Dark Tower.
Mm.
I
Oh,
think
there you
this
go.
universe is amazing. I love these books. So that would be cool. That would be cool.
That'd be nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah.
Would you rather have 3
Oh, yeah.
feet or 3 hands?
Oh God.
Uh, three ends, but hopefully it's like located somewhere useful.
And hopefully attached to an arm. Just have
Right.
Yeah.
stubby little
It just
hands.
grows out where your belly button is.
I mean, I guess it could help you with groceries. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess I'll have to stop this really cool, quick succession of questions, but I'll have to go work.
All right. We got it. Well, it's the last question, so
Oh yeah, it is the
Oh,
last
we're
question.
up to we're gonna give you the last question here, really quickly, right off the top of your head, and this is the most important question: Andy or Steven?
um, Man, I'm gonna go Andy
Okay, that's good.
because he's a cartoon.
Yes. Yes, he is.
That's the first time it's worked in your advantage,
It
Andy.
has.
You did it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to our guest Dave. Thank you so much. Thank you, Aude.
And
for
Aude is back there.
Aude, yep, back there, kind of just chilling, making sure
I am. Thank you.
Dave doesn't say anything
What do you
stupid.
prefer, pineapple
Yeah.
on pizza? Yes or no?
All right, folks. If you want-
That's a hard no, by the way. A
Heard
hard
that.
no.
Look at this. It's the winners within winners on this podcast.
If you want to support
ladies
us
and
on
gentlemen.
Patreon, go to patreon.com/NDS podcast. Just like our Patreon producer, Colton the Apprentice Nestler. For just $1, you get into our VIP Discord. You get a bonus episode, and you can vote on what that bonus episode is all about. If you want to follow us on social media, we are at NDS Podcast. I am at Batchild27. Andy is at Pants Guy. Join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/DS Podcast. And where could everybody find everything that you guys do? I mean, it's not hard. You just kind of Google Dead by Daylight and you can find everything. But if there's anything that you specifically want to tell people, now is the time. I think that.
Well, visit our website
there you go.
and
That's
please follow us on Twitter and on all the social media for all the latest and greatest updates.
All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for listening, folks. Thank you so much for being on the show, Dave and Aude. Thank you, Andy. And as always, please be excellent to each other.